It's not enough to just hide behind technology. Having real conversations with your clients, engaging them, digging deeper, understanding who they are and what they want, that goes a long way toward keeping top of mind awareness and doing the best job you can for your clients. Okay, take two.
Help to hit go live.
Okay. So the only constant, the only thing that doesn't change, the only constant is change. Yes?
Yes.
So and you are organizing an event this week. It's B2B. We don't talk about it much on this broadcast, but having people adapt to the changing market. And changing the market doesn't mean a crash, by the way. But
No.
one of our keynote people, Anthony Lamacchia, said at his event up in Worcester that there are agents whose entire brief careers have been spent in this market where they've been a little bit spoiled, right? You list a house, it goes live on Friday, you go to highest and best by Monday night, and it's easy. And they don't realize that that's a bizarre market. That's a weird market. So it's a once in a lifetime market, as a matter of fact. And if that's your orientation, if that's what you come in with, you're going to be very ill prepared for the leveling off and the other shifts that are coming.
Yeah.
Because the market is changing. And if we don't educate the consumer about that, then they're going to think that, for example, selling in a month for full price is terrible because they've been trained to think that you got to sell your first weekend for.
Well, and also realtors, you have to shift. Like I literally had this situation with the seller and the cops and the whole thing, but turns out I actually got that house sold that weekend. But the agent who has the offer in is literally acting like the house has leprosy because they were the only offer. I'm like, dude, we canceled the listing Sunday morning. So we had 2 showings in the open house. I think most people went to the open house instead of seeing the property. So we had 2 other showings on Saturday. Sunday morning, I canceled the listing and all the showings. But to literally have that mindset of like, well, what's wrong with this property? It only has 1 offer being on the market 18 hours. I'm like, and not only the 18 hours, but when you're an agent and you see a property canceled, you just go on to the next thing unless there's no next thing, which obviously there wasn't. So I did end up getting a bunch of calls and inquiries, but just that, like, yeah, like what's wrong with the property? It only has 1 offer in 12 hours. Yeah, I get it.
That's an agent that's never worked in another market like this. Like, so I don't know what the reason was, but I tried to show somebody something I did years ago. I forgot what it was, but it was Christina's listing.
Mm-hmm.
It's people. I sold the house to them 12 or 13 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they got it. Are you ready? For $150,000 under ask.
And now
we're not talking about $1 million property at all.
Is it in contract now?
Yeah, it's under contract now, and they did well. You know, they bought low, sold high, but I mean that kind of thing where people are getting things for 80 cents on the dollar. I hope it never returns again, by the way. I mean, I hope we never see a market crash like that. But there have been all kinds of different market phases, and agents have to educate their clients about the changes, however small or subtle, because the market is not a static phenomenon. There is rising interest rates, which we've beat the crap out of. But there's also something that is, I don't know that it has a name, but it's sort of like consumer fatigue. And that is, we're like 2.5, 3 years into this really low inventory bidding war market.
This one drives me crazy. Go ahead.
At some point, the buying public just kind of like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. We'll do something else. We'll figure it out, but we're not going to Saturday after the listing goes live, make an offer of 50,000 over asking, and then be told on Monday we didn't get the place. We're not doing this. And people are, like you mentioned in the green room, people are walking away. Buyers are walking away from offers. Buyers are getting buyer's remorse. So that is happening, and we will not continue to have this crazy stagflation, crazy appreciation in property values with 2-bedroom houses in White Plains going under contract for over $600,000. I mean, think about that.
Yeah. And again, realtors have to be communicating this to sellers, to buyers. I mean, to sellers, the messaging really needs to be like, you have to get into reality. No, we don't have to go to highest and best on every single offer. Just try to squeeze every ounce of life and money out of people, because you're going to end up with nothing, because, bird in hand. Yep. And then buyers get back in. No, the market is not crashing. There's not going to be some amazing deal for you in 6 months. And there's still corporations and iBuyers and all kinds of people out there grabbing up residential real estate like crazy.
Yeah.
That's not stopping. So, so it's counterintuitive to think that you need to be giving this kind of messaging to both buyers and sellers. But it's just going to be different. Yep. You're going to have to paint your door red and do all the different things that Marie Graham tells you.
Yep.
They're not going to be waiving appraisal inspections. They're not going to be waiving inspection contingencies. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to, put your best foot forward. And you're probably going to have your house on the market for more than one weekend. I mean, look, that's nice. Nobody likes having their house on the market, but and then, realtors being able to explain too why a property may be on the market for more than a week or two. And that deals have falling apart. Not always, there's lots of reasons why deals fall apart. And so when buyers are just going at rapid pace, trying to get their property in and not even having time to think, and then they open up the newspaper and the sky is falling, they get remorse.
Yeah. Buyer's remorse has absolutely come back to the market.
Mm-hmm.
Buyer's remorse is now a thing that we did not see 6 and 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
There are properties down my street that I am astonished that sold for what they sold for. And in that competitive environment, I totally get it. But right now, there are people who have come in. It was an accepted offer. They offered more for cash. And then the next morning, I'm getting a call. They reconsidered.
Yep.
Now, properties are still going to sell.
Well, that's what I was
going to be fine.
I was explaining this to the buyer's agent on that property that I had to cancel. Like, this is really a gift for your buyers.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah, you don't have the same
chaos and craziness. And this is a woman who does not want people in her home. That still exists.
Clearly.
COVID is rising.
Clearly.
Rising again. And so it's a confluence of things. So sometimes, like, an opportunity is an opportunity. It's not a house with leprosy.
We're also seeing, by the way, listings that are overpriced approach getting a little bit stale.
Yeah. And we're seeing price reductions.
Yeah. So I have, it's funny, this reminded me, this is the old Supra, which I should have turned in. Now I have a paperweight. All right. But folks, look at this. How can a consumer hack this? So one of our agents has a listing and they don't want a lockbox. Okay. Because they think it's something that the consumer is going to get break in. You can't open this without the app on your phone connecting to it via Bluetooth, and the app only works when you're all paid up with the association, right? We have never seen listings in the past year and a half, 2 years get stale. We have never seen people who didn't want a lockbox be told you have to get a lockbox because it's not going to sell the first weekend. And we've got a month-old listing here that is in need of a price reduction, and we can't get people in.
Lockbox. Yeah. You have to do the things.
You have to start doing the things. You have to start cleaning the litter box. You're going to have to tidy up around here. You're going to have to clean up your laundry. So it's still, look, the best thing you can do to sell your house, as you have often said, is to list it.
But
now, guess what? You're probably going to have to start tidying up. You're going to have to start making it a little bit more welcoming for buyers. You're going to have to be a little bit more accommodating. You're going to have to do the things that we've always told sellers they need to do in order to stand out. Because guess what? Buyers are having no more of this at this point. Buyers are starting to get fatigue.
Yep. And so now you have to sort of have that balance. You don't want to start projects that are going to take time for you to get the property on the market, but yet you want to do the things that will take you a weekend. Yep, I said that, a weekend.
Yeah. Tidy up.
Weekends are very valuable.
Yep.
So, don't take more than one weekend if you're considering selling. Do what you got to do and get it on the market. And like I said, buyers, those of you who are sort of given up and, with everything that's happened with the stock market and with the interest rates rising and so on and so forth, I know that you are hopeful that there's going to be some sort of crash and you're going to end up with some amazing deals. But prices are set to just keep rising. So hopefully municipalities take a cue from this and start, allowing some cluster development and some affordable housing and, and things of that nature. I think there's lots of potential for more housing in our area. But I don't have much hope for that.
Well, look, in the shift that we talk about where agents need to get educated, because again, there's agents that don't know any market but this, and consumers that need to get educated because there's a curve, there's a period of time before it starts to saturate the public mind. The longest shift is government. Their reaction time is not what we would call reflexive. So I can count on the government that by 2025, they will have adroitly adjusted to the problems that were screaming at them second quarter of 2022. That is what we can count on.
Do you think maybe we'll learn how to react to a pandemic after this?
No.
I don't think so.
We're not going to learn. We're not going to learn any lessons.
I love all the hindsight people that, well, we should have done this, we should have done that.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks. That's what we call them, right? Okay. So sellers, it's still going to be a pretty good market for you, but you're not going to see the cartoonish slant toward your advantage that we've seen before. It can't happen. It just can't. We can't have, 2-bedroom houses approach $1 million in value in middle class municipalities.
But the good news is for sellers who have to buy, that will soften up. That will open up a little bit.
Well, we can only hope. We can only hope more inventory arrives, and some of it's going to be pretty motivated inventory. I'll tell you that.
I think so. But again, if you have the right, realtor, with doing seller prospecting with the agents, I've spoken to a lot of sellers that just refinanced and gave up. And I asked them, what their buyer's agent was doing for them. Was their buyer agent calling all, expired listings and for sale by owner? I know that's like taboo. We're not supposed to say we're calling expired listings, but I figure that law is about as enforceable as the mask law. Sorry. Now you're going to yell at me after this broadcast, but you know what?
No.
We have a housing crisis, people.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's people that are home who want to sell and just need some hand holding. And how are we supposed to hold their hand if we can't communicate with them? So I've spoken to a lot of people who gave up because they couldn't find something to buy, and asked them what their buyer's agent was doing for them. And their buyer agent was just using the MLS. And guess what, you guys, right now, in the past, I don't know how long, I've been saying this since pre-pandemic, that if you're a buyer's agent and you are not scouring to find every property that could possibly be sold, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So that's a twofold. You got to make sure you have the right agent working with you. And if it's a listing agent who never works with buyers, you might say, well, who in your company does? Because I get it. I don't like working with buyers. And thank you, Carol. So super, super important that you have an agent who gets the market. And quite frankly, any buyer's agent that is not working with an off-market list is not representing you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Said it.
It's true. It's perfectly permissible, by the way, to call for sale by owners, and it's perfectly fine to reach out to expired listings. It's perfect. It's how you do it makes a difference.
Those laws are meant for the people who call 500 times a day.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I mean, look,
I
long before the pandemic, there were moratoriums on in the boroughs for cold calling people.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a dog down the street that's losing its mind, and it's making my dogs lose their mind.
We can't even hear it.
You can't hear that?
No.
Wow. It feels like, my dogs are, well, I'm glad. I'm glad this microphone is not as, here's my NPR voice. It's not as strong. But yeah, that's suburbia, boy. Dogs and clotheslines.
And generators.
And I just closed on my refi last Friday, and I'm very happy about that. But I have no intentions of selling anytime soon. That's for sure. That is a
and it's probably a good time. I mean, you'd say, oh, but it went up half a point. We're still at a historic low, and we don't know where interest rates are going. So
right. Well, in historical context, even a 5% interest rate is very, very low. I was lucky. I was below 4% because I paid through the nose for extensions because it took me forever to get my act together. But rates are still quite affordable, quite good. I like that we're not manipulating the rates anymore, and that we're allowing market forces to determine the interest rates, which is what we always should have done. That's a whole other kind of thing. And by the way, Carol, we absolutely need to talk because we have bilingual borrowers who need people that speak Spanish. So reach out to me later, please. Carol and I, for a minute, worked at the same company back when I was a loan officer.
Oh, really? I don't think
residential home funding.
But thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol, for recognizing my good point. I'm not sure what it was. Probably off market. Probably the off market inventory. Absolutely, yeah. So,
well, all homes are for sale. Not all homes are on the market, but all homes are for sale.
Yeah, I don't agree with you there. Like, it's really hard to convince a seller to sell their house unless they want to sell.
Well, some are less for sale than others. But if you knock on someone's door and offer them twice market value, they're for sale. Now, who does that?
There's a guy down here. He owns a what do you call that? Like an auto mechanic shop.
Yeah.
And it's right across the street from the lake, and it's just prime. So like 8 years ago when we were working on downtown parking, they offered him $1 million, which then was like double what it was worth.
He didn't take it?
Nope. And now nothing. He just
Now he regrets it.
No, he doesn't regret it. I don't think he would take $2 million. He's crazy. He wouldn't know what to do with himself. All he does is work. He's like 80.
That would be crazy.
Isaac the mechanic. He's very famous here. He's been around forever. Right? So I agree with you to a degree, but there's a lot of life decisions there. So there's only always going to be a certain amount of people that will sell regardless of price.
Well, motivated sellers are who we work with. We don't work with all sellers. We work with motivated sellers. So
right. And they are more motivated when they feel secure about finding a place to go.
Yeah, they have to be motivated and educated at this point
Yep.
in this crazy time we live in. All right, so that looks like we're close to
Yep.
wrapped up. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep. 20 minutes. All
That's
right,
our
everybody. Have a great week. Hold on, I gotta find our little video that you love so much.
Yeah. It's not enough to just hide behind technology. Having real conversations with your clients, engaging them, digging deeper, understanding who they are and what they want, that goes a long way toward keeping top of mind awareness and doing the best job you can.